welcome to this video. In this video, I'm going to talk about the wall of resistance. Right now, you might not know what this is, but I'll tell you in a bit. If you don't know me, I'm Christian. I've built my own company with my business partner Mega, where we help coaches, consultants take care of appointment booking. Now, let's get into this one. This is a really interesting one, especially in the art of talking. Right now, talking. What is this wall of resistance that I'm talking about? And I'm talking about the wall of resistance that you will meet on people that you're going to talk to, right? I am sure you have noticed this before. You're going up to someone, trying to talk to them, but they kind of reject you. They don't seem to listen to you. They don't really open up, right? They're resistant towards you and your energy, and you're not really getting anything out of the conversation other than them just not really listening, and it's not really going anywhere. And I'm sure that you've also tried a conversation where it goes the complete other way. Where it has gone completely other way, where people just open up and you're just like, wow, what happened? What did I do different this time? Now, this is a very big art to talk about, and what really happens when you learn to open up and get through people's resistance is that you start to get a lot more information, and people start to like you a lot more too. Because essentially the reason that people do not want to open up to you is that they don't really trust you with information and don't really feel comfortable sharing it with you. Now, getting people to open up and getting people to lowering this wall of resistance, we first got to look at why this wall of resistance is there in the first place. And when we were younger, right? When we were younger, than we were children and young people, we had a much more eager to learn, right? We're much more eager to learn about life and its challenges, and learn from our peers, parents, and the people around us, because we were behind in the quest of knowledge, right? Compared to our parents and our peers, friends, family, mentors, right? We're behind knowledge. So when we're young, we have a drive almost to learn and get as much information in as we possible. And this starts from when we're very small babies until we become adolescent and teenagers and young adults. And in this period, you don't have really an opinion. You're really open to a lot of stuff. And I mean, everyone's tried to converse with a little kid. They don't care. I mean, they'll listen to anything. They'll talk to anyone. They don't care, right? But then when they start to get older, they start to form an opinion. They start to form a way that they think about stuff, the way that they think about themselves and their own beliefs, their own way of the world, right? Their own way that they think the world is running around. And that's because they've developed this beliefs through the knowledge that they've gained over a long time, and now they start to protect what they believe. And this only grows stronger the older you get, because our interest for learning, our wanting to learn, it diminishes, right? It gets lower and lower because people are afraid of the learning, right? People do not want to learn. Essentially, no. People, when they get to a place, people care more about being right in their own opinions than they do learning about new ones. And that's why usually when you're in an argument with someone and you feel like you're just shouting at each other, not really getting anywhere, even though that you have some solid points in your argument, people tend to just deflate them or look them over because they see them as not valid and not really relevant to their viewpoint, and actually seeing them wrong. And this happens because we build something that's called an ego, right? And if you don't know what the ego is, it's something that is within all of us, right? It is our pride, basically. And it is, what's a good word for it? No, pride is a good word for it. Like self-consciousness, right? Pride in what we know and what we love. And sometimes this ego gets in the way of us learning new things because we're prideful that what we know is the right knowledge. And you can't really get anything other knowledge than the ones that we have, because what we have is the right thing. And as soon as people start to attack that which we know and think is right, our ego flares up and we become very rational, because we do not like being wrong, and we do not like having others stepping in our knowledge, making them feel smarter than us and making us feel stupid. We hate this. And when we're in a stage like that, people tend to shut off completely and not open to any kind of new information. And it's actually really sad when this happens. Just the camera a bit here. So, but you have to learn to see through this, right? You have to learn to see when is someone being irrational, when is someone actually listening, and when is someone completely ignoring what the fuck you're saying. A lot of people are very good at masking their real intentions of what they really think, right? Now this is really hard, and there's also a caveat to this. Sometimes you should hold steadfast in your opinions because they might be true. Sometimes they are correct, sometimes they are wrong. That's the way of life. We cannot be correct in 100% everything. And that is just a way of life, right? Because there's so much information, and the human brain can't possibly handle that much information. Now, what this means is that when we try to learn as adults, right, we gotta put this ego aside. We gotta open ourselves up to new things, which can be really hard in some circumstances, especially if you're not expecting it or chose it yourself, right? Then it can actually be really hard to learn something. But this wall of resistance is something that you have to start. You've recognized in other people before, but what you really have to do is first to start recognizing it in yourself. Where is this wall within you? Where is this wall coming from? That's what you got to start to realize. You got to understand your piece, your involvement in this, you, right? Because there's this saying, you can't help someone else unless you help yourself first. Because undoubtedly or inevitably, if you haven't fixed a problem for yourself and you try to fix the same problem for someone else, they'll just end in the same situation, which doesn't solve the problem, right? That's why something that really pisses me off is people who try to teach something or scold something which they haven't done yet and actually haven't figured out for themselves. Because, yeah, they are going off on theory, right? Sometimes you need that, but other times you don't. And especially in the business world, someone teaching theory without any actual practice, yeah, theoretically it should work, but shit, everybody can say that, right? But no. It's really important that you learn to see yourself. You learn to understand your own way of looking at it. You need to understand you and your ego. Because once you get a really, really good understanding of who you are, when are you rejecting stuff? When are you not in control of your emotions, right? When you start to understand these small things within yourself, it becomes a lot more apparent when other people are doing it themselves and when they are not as open, right? When they start to shut down and when they're not really being honest with themselves. But you cannot go and attack that because people will see it as offensive. Okay. And there's a lot of ways around this. How can you actually get in? How can you actually become better at this? How can you actually start to break down people's defenses? Now, my first advice for you right here was to start to learn your own ego. Where is your own wall of resistance? Start mapping it out, right? So you have a clear understanding and view of it. That's your first step. Figure out of yourself. And then learn, study it, see how you react, study your own reactions and what you do in certain situations. Now, in the past, there was a president. Now, I want to make sure that I get the right name. I can't remember it. But it's a good story, right? It's a U.S. senator, a young one, who was really young, and his goal was to become president within not such a long time. Or Leiden. Oh, what is it called? Damn it, I forget what he's called. Sorry about that. But no, a young president in the 60s. He was very young. His goal was to become the president of America. Now, he has spent a lot of his time wasted and just trying to get into the Senate at the age of 40 years, and he felt like it was kind of wasted. So what he learned, and what he learned from that experience, is if you want to actually go somewhere, you have to put your own things aside and help others achieve their desires. Because then they'll be willing to help you obtain what it is that you want to obtain. And this is fucking smart. So what he did, the first thing he did after one meeting with the first senator he met, he said, what I want to do. And as you can guess, it was all about me, and it left a really bad example on the senator that we was talking to at the first time. Now, after this, he noticed that, okay, he didn't get anywhere from this conversation about when he was trying to say what he wanted, where he wants to go, his ambitions, his. So he figured out, okay, I'm going to try to approach this in a different way. So what he did, he learned to talk with other people. He learned to draw them in. He learned to speak to them in specific ways. He learned to listen. He learned to see their side. He learned to take opinion on their side. He learned to compliment their side, right? Always make them feel heard. And what ended up happening to this president, or this senator at the moment, is that within a few years he arose to presidency, which was completely unheard of. But he was liked and he was in control of the whole Senate because he had influenced every single senator that there was by making them accepted. So he was in such strong position that he just couldn't, he couldn't lose at that point, right? Because he had the whole Senate under his fingernails, right? Under his hand, which was completely insane. Now, I can't remember. He sat in the period from the start 60s to the late 60s. Leiden. Something Leiden, if I'm not mistaken. I can't remember his first name. But that's not it. I'm not American. Not that excuses it. But what you should learn from this is that influence from others helps you. If you can get on other people's good side, you can help them help you, right? And one may not do a lot, but a lot do, right? And they start to like you, and they will support you unconsciously and unwillingly. They'll just start to support you, okay? So my next step, the first real advice that I gave you, that was to start to learn yourself. The next one that I'm going to give you is listening. Active listening. I do not know if you've heard about this for the 80-20 principle, but active listening is actually listening to what the other person says. And now they might say, oh, well, duh. No, but what you really understand is that a lot of people do not do this, right? They don't understand. They don't even listen to them, right? When people are saying something, they think, okay, what should I say next? What should I say next? I'm not actually 100% involved in the conversation, right? And this, because they're thinking, oh, what should I say next? What's my, or what did I, They care more about their own thoughts than they care about that of others. Even though others' life is just as interesting as theirs, if not more, right? They don't know. But people are really self-absorbed, and they've been for a long time. So they care more about their own thoughts in the action than actually listening to the person and hearing their opinion, hearing out what they have to say. So you need to start to listen, right? And a good way to be active listening is curiosity. If you're not curious about what the other person is actually trying to say, then you won't really get anywhere. Like, if you don't have any interest in the other person at all, you can try to fake it, but it's easy for the other person to see that you're faking it, because the human is really good at picking up people when they're trying to fake something like that, because you usually can make it very authentic. But if you're actually curious in the other person and trying to learn from them, oh boy, do you have a strong combo here. And a good trick that I found is that I try to set things in perspective, right? I think about my own life, right? I do something that's selfish for me that I like. I think about my whole life, all my experiences, all the things I've been through. Like, damn, there's so much. Think about your life. Just imagine how many places you've been, how many experiences, how many meals you've had, how many times you've gone to bed. Think about all the intricate details. Now, in your life, there's probably a lot of interesting stuff, a lot of things that you find interesting, and a lot of things that, wow, that's pretty cool, right? There's so much to know. If someone were to talk to you, and you could probably talk about it for hours if you really try it, right? If someone helped you a bit. Now, think that the other person that you're talking to has the exact same thing. That person has just as many experiences, just as many fun memories, just as many cool things, right? There's so much about the other person that you don't understand and that you're able to learn from them, right? Just imagine how much that's out there. We can take any random thing. There's 8 billion people on this earth. Think about all the emotions, all the thoughts you've ever had, and multiply that by 8 billion people, because everyone else has such many thoughts. To me, that's a completely crazy thing to talk about, because it's just so... It's such a big scale that it's just hard to grasp, right? But putting it in perspective like that makes not only the other person seem more interesting and curious, but make you seem less special, right? So you're not really on a pinnacle compared to others, which a lot of people do. They put themselves on a pinnacle and think that they're better than others in some way. And the problem is that everyone feels that way. kind of ironic when you think about it. But no. Oh. So what you have to do when someone is listening or someone is talking to you, sometimes you gotta start the conversation. And when people don't want to talk, like ask open-ended questions, then ask in on the things that people are saying. A good trick or a good thing to know, when someone says something and answers a question, they reveal at least 3 things about themselves. And these are 3 more things that you can ask in. And then they say something new, there's 3 new things that you can ask into one of them. What you gotta do is just continually find like the kind of right path, and you'll end up with them talking 80% of the time. You just asking good questions and really listening to what they're saying. Now, a good way for people to make them feel heard is eye contact. When you're talking to them, look them in the eyes. Really nod, okay? So like not just No, put some like a curious face. Oh wow, yeah, wow, really? Just those small comments like really, and wow, damn, no way. Wait, is that true? Like those small comments, and then they're like, and they say, yeah, that's true. That's crazy. Yeah, crazy. Right? And sometimes if people are saying something, and then we jumped off a building, like the end of their sentence when they're saying something that they find interesting, then like mirror it back to them with the same enthusiasm, like completely mirror back to them. We jumped off a building. Jumped off a building? Yeah, and they say, yeah, we jumped off a building. It was crazy. Yeah, crazy. I could have bet, man. When did you do it? How did you do it? Said, well, we did it in at I don't know, Paris or something. 3 stories. 3 stories, right? If you do this, if you over exaggerate, people will feel like you're faking it. But if you do this correctly, people just be like, wow, this guy's listening to me. Alright? So mirroring back is a really strong technique that you have to people to really feel like you're listening to them, because you're literally replicating what they say. This means to them that you have heard every single word that they've said and you know exactly what they're talking about, which makes them feel really heard, and people love that. So that's your first goal, right? Start mirroring back to them and then saying, oh wow, that's really important. And then start listening. Show curiosity. Show they're actually curious about them. And then another thing is that you also start to label them, right? Say, oh, that sounds like it must have been a tough period for you. Put people like tough. Oh, you're a strong person for doing it. Oh, that's really brave of you, right? So, like compliments to them while they're speaking. And sometimes people just sugarcoat everything and make it like really unrealistic to listen to. Try to make it realistic to also give some good feedback to them, criticize them a bit, but not enough for them to make their ego come up. And the way that you do that is by not telling your opinion, but asking a question inadvertently that gets them to say themselves, right? So let's take an example of this. Let's just say someone made a bad decision, and let's say they went into a casino and they just got a bonus from work for $2,000, and they went to spend all of the $2,000 in a casino, and when won like 500 spent, those get won nothing. So they came home with nothing. Now you could say, oh, that's stupid. Why the fuck did you go spend $2,000 in the casino? Right? And they'll just be like, oh, well, I have fun. They'll come up with all sorts of rejections. They come up with all these defensive and stupid excuses that justifies why they did it. Now, what you could do instead and say, oh, you went to spend $2,000 in the casino. Well, what was the reason for doing that? Really, but like, really, the tonality is super important, right? Oh, you spent 2,000. Oh shit! That was a big bug. 1 second here. I'm just gonna kill something. Oh wait, it's gonna get out. Oh, I don't know if you saw that one. Like, big boy. No, but then ask the question like, well, you spent 2,000. You spent 2,000 casino yesterday. So yeah, I did that. Oh, well, why did you spend your money like that? I said, oh, you just yeah, fun's have fun. Oh, did you have fun? Right, and then like that question, did you have fun? Yeah, I did. Yeah, and then ask something like, I wonder what else you could have used those for, man. I mean, 2,000 is a lot of money, right? Just really, the tonality is super important here, and I might not be the best at mirroring it through right here, because it's hard to come up with. But really understanding how you say those questions are super important, because if you say them wrong in the wrong tonality, oh, why the fuck did you do that? Right? It's a question, but no. People are just gonna, well, it was fun. The ego comes up, and they're completely irrational creatures, and they start to, they just start to defend their opinion. They're like, if you act, they'll feel like you're accusing them of something, and people do not like being wrong again. So they come up with all sorts of stupid defenses and reasons why to justify their decision, and yeah, you don't get anywhere with this. So that's the thing that you really should start to focus on, is just the way that you ask those questions. Okay? So yeah. Now, the last thing I want to talk about is you, right? You as a person, what can you do to really be the best at this? And you can also use something like reverse psychology. If people are driven to do something, you can get them to do it by framing the question in another way, which is kind of fun. I don't want to go too deep into that, because that's probably a subject for a whole nother day. No, but what I want you to understand here is that you, right now, the first goal of you is just to start realizing this within yourself. Where are you going wrong? What are you doing incorrectly? What's your faults? Really, what are you doing wrong? What can you do better? That's the first thing. Notice your own resistance. Where do you go wrong? All that. Then, and only then, can you start to comment on others. You can start to talk with others about their problems. Well, not really talk about them, just start to notice them, and then start practicing the techniques which I've showed you in this video for how you can overcome them, and start going around this defensive barrier. Now, once you have, like, people feel like you're hearing them, they will fucking crave to talk with you again. Like, literally, when people feel heard and that you're actually listening to them, they'll goddamn crave for you to listen to them again. And you'll just completely addict them to you and your presence. And that is super powerful. Okay, so really, there's a lot of power in this, and if misabused, you can do some pretty evil things. So yeah. Yeah, I think that's it. Well, if you liked the video, give it a like. If you want to see more of this kind of content, hit the subscribe button. And I'll be pumping more out. Bye-bye.